Today, let's talk about the creative process, specifically how I make music. I've been playing the piano since I was 6 years old and making music since I was 14 years old. And I've slowly started to develop a process on how to actually finish music. And I know as creatives, we hate setting schedules and checklists, but there are certain strategies we can take to make this fun and engaging whilst also finishing music. The first stage is divergent thinking, your ideation stage. It's about exploring and collecting new inputs from different sources. Whether that be the studio or out traveling, this is the place to have non-linear thinking about ideas. You might not know when, but there's a time when an idea strikes you and it just captivates your attention. You've now entered convergent thinking, which is focusing on reaching one well-defined goal. And for me, that's usually finishing a song. So this is where the magic happens and we can activate flow state. When I'm in this mode, I try not to get stuck on the nitty-gritty details of tweaking things. I instead try to get the overarching idea down. So I'll get the chords down, the drums down, the melody down, because I can always change those out later as long as what I've created represents what I want to finish in the future. From here on out, we're finding the pieces of the missing puzzle and putting everything together to try fit cohesively into the sound that we want. While this is straightforward, this is the stage I personally get stuck in a lot. And sometimes I can be in this process in days, weeks, or months. When you finally get that idea going and it just works, things fit together and the song works as one living organism. Because a lot of the time, when I'm making a song, it feels like you can feel the song is there, but you just need to find the right things to make it alive, essentially. There comes a part when you just know it's done. And when you know that all you gotta do is the smallest tweaks, but the idea is there and it feels amazing. So you're moving on to the third and final stage, which is the polishing. This is the convergent thinking plus stage, where I'm spending an hour tweaking a snare drum or putting in little tiny effects, making sure the transitions are right, listening to the intro 100 times, listening to every 4 bars and making sure every 4 bars something slightly changes so that the viewer doesn't get bored or just it intrigues them even more, adding that ear candy to the track. These are all things that I think make the track professional. And I'm sure you might have this in your creative field. There's something that differentiates the difference between good and pro. And the role we need to play is get that 1 to 2% of something, the extra bit of sauce, the extra bit of whatever it is that just makes that song shine. But now is arguably one of the most important ritual parts of making a song. It's the car test. Now, don't get me wrong, my 2011 car doesn't have the best sound system in the world or actually sounds good. But the one thing this sound system has is that I know it really well. I've listened to thousands of songs in this car and I understand the characteristics of how this car sounds, even though it sounds shit. I know what the song should sound like. It should sound like the other songs that I listen to in this car, and it becomes very apparent when the demo sounds different to what the other songs sound like. During the car test, I'll listen to it in different ways. I'll listen while stagnant, I'll listen at low volumes, high volumes, and just generally drive around and just see what it feels like as a soundtrack to my day. Something interesting I've tried is create a playlist of other songs that sound similar to mine and drive around as I normally would, but inside that playlist, randomly at some point, that track is going to play. And not only will I notice it, but I'll notice if it sounds any different to the other tracks, and does it stand out in any way that's negative. This video is also sponsored by me. All the music, all the sound effects, all composed, created, produced by myself. If you want to stay up to date with my music, my videos, and just generally what I'm up to in life, I've got a weekly newsletter every Monday with additional updates when I'm releasing music. You'll get unreleased stuff. You get access to all my stuff early, including my music, and just hearing about what I'm up to, and hopefully I can give you some insights along the way. That's generally my creative process in making a song. It does change from song to song sometimes, and I'm sure your creative process is completely different. And this works for me because you're able to map out the stages. You don't need to be so rigid in your creative process. And you know that the first stage of divergent thinking is going to be a bit of a process, sometimes short, sometimes long, but you don't want to put a time frame on that. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.